What up, cucks? It's your boy, the Hater, up in this piece. First things first, the Hater's gained some weight ever since he quit smoking several months ago. So the Hater's going on a diet and going back to the gym every fucking day, just like last year, cucks. So that being said, the Hater's back once again, motherfuckers. The Hater's fiance's mother is in town, so I've been a little bit busy. That's why there hasn't been a video. And also, there hasn't been a video because there hasn't been much to say. But lo and behold, fucks, lo and behold, we have some news. The brand split of AEW. First of all, there's a million things wrong with this. But the primary thing is that, once again, AEW proves the point that they are a B-rate, C-level company. I mean, this company is just a piece of shit at this point. You know what I mean? Instead of thinking of new things and cool things to do, they just copy WWE once again, right? It's like WWE did the brand split first, and then AEW just copies them, right? So it's like this argument that AEW was founded upon, right? That they would be different, that they would provide an alternative to WWE is horseshit. Because all they've done is create another WWE. Except instead of WWE, it's AEW, and it's shit, right? It's even worse. You know what I'm saying? The second problem with the brand split, cucks, is that who the hell are you going to have leading these brands? First of all, you have MJF, who's like 25 and wrestles like 3 times a year, right? It's just ridiculous. It's honestly stupid at this point, right? It's like he's not a big enough star to do this, you know what I mean? He's not Roman Reigns. Like, if you took AEW to Saudi Arabia, they'd sell like 45 tickets, and it would just be people confused thinking that it was WWE because they'd be like, oh shit, Keith Lee's here. I think he's in NXT still, you know? They'd be people like that, right? Nobody would buy it because nobody knows who these fuckers are. So, for someone who's an unknown fuck like MJF to wrestle 3 times a week is just ridiculous, right? And I got into a little debate with someone online about how good The Miz was. And people are like so out of touch, right? They really think that for some reason MJF is better than The Miz. You know what I mean? They always get compared, but there's this argument that MJF is somehow, like, he's not even good, let alone better than The Miz. MJF sucks ass, right? So it's like he's going to be one of the leads of one of the brands, probably of Dynamite. And then they're going to put, like, the B champion on Saturday nights. That show is going to draw, like, on their premiere episode, they will draw less than 1 million. I'm saying it right now. It's going to be less than 1 million because who the fuck wants to watch that shit? Like, I'm not going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a flying fuck. Even if there is, like, a big promotion to see the draft, it's like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, there's no big names. You know what I mean? Back in the day, during the first WWE draft, which was, like, iconic, right? It was a huge deal because up until that point, everyone wrestled against everyone, right? In AEW, nobody wrestles against nobody because there's no wrestling done. It's just like Jungle Boy and like Darby Allin are the only ones that like wrestle consistently. Everyone else is just an Orange Cassidy. So it's just 3 tiny jobbers, and then everyone else just doesn't appear on TV. Like, when was the last time Andrade was on TV? When was the last time Keith Lee was on TV? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is that, by the way? Keith Lee just is not on TV anymore. He's such a jobber that even in AEW, he doesn't get TV time, right? He's like the Karrion Kross of AEW, you know? But whatever, I digress, cucks. The point I'm trying to make is this, right? Who's going to be the #1 draft pick? Who gives a flying fuck? It's going to be MJF, obviously he's the champion, right? Then they're going to draft the Blackpool Combat Club, right? Because that's like the only other entity that has any kind of validity. And then Jericho is going to be 3rd, right? And then after that, who gives a flying fuck? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you'll get Kenny Omega or the Elite or whatever in there somewhere, right? But you have to put them in the same show as, like, again, what's it called? As the Dean Ambrose and friends. But let's be real, right? Does anyone really care where anyone else ends up past the like 5-6 people, if that? No, motherfuckers. Back in the day, you cared because the entire point was like, we're gonna break up tag teams. We're gonna, like, nobody is safe from the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So the whole point of the draft was the way it was because you understood that this had implications for the future of the company, right? It was almost like a rebranding of the company. It wasn't like the drafts of today where it's just like, oh, there's a draft. There was a fundamental shift that happened after the first WWE draft, right? There actually was brand segregation. You know, so you would only see Rey Mysterio on SmackDown, and you would only see, eventually when he debuted, I mean, right? But the people that were already there, you had people splitting tag teams like Devon and Bubba Ray, right? Now, of course, everybody knew that. I'm sure eventually they would find their ways to the same shows, right? Because it's never that simple. But the idea was that some of these tag teams, at least, are going to get a push. out of this, right? Some of the tag teams are going to be separated, and one person is going to become the Shawn Michaels, and the other person is going to be the Marty Jannetty, right? So, of course, people expected Bubba Ray to be the Shawn Michaels, you know, Jeff Hardy to be the Shawn Michaels, Edge to be the Shawn Michaels, and some of that worked out, some of that didn't. But the point is, there was actual things to look forward to, right? It mattered where Val Venus would end up, cucks. Because with Val Venus, you would like, now there'd be, let's say, no chance of them like reforming Right to Censor if they're all on different shows, right? The people had history with each other, right? But does it really matter if Commander and fucking Jungle Boy end up on the same show or different shows? No, nobody gives a flying fuck. Does it matter if Sammy Guevara ends up on the same show as Kip Sabian? No, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. They've done nothing together, right? There's no storylines, so nobody gives a flying fuck where anybody ends up, right? There's no brand competition because it's the same fucking shit, right? It's just manufactured. The only thing they're doing is basically saying, like, yo, we're too big and we have too many jobbers. And we have to monetize some of these jobbers because, quite frankly, they're just getting a paycheck for doing nothing, right? But is anybody going to tune in to see Keith Lee? No, motherfucks, nobody is. And here's the problem. Here's the problem. When SmackDown debuted, everybody knew that Raw was going to stay as the main show. But there was a point where SmackDown overtook Raw as like the show that got the most viewership. Even recently, right? Because good booking is going to dominate, right? But it's not going to work if the shows are positioned as one being vastly inferior than the other. And if one show is on Wednesdays and the other one is on Saturdays, the Saturday show is going to be inferior. Everybody knows that. You know what I'm saying? There's a zero chance that people are going to draw more on Saturday when other shit's going down than Wednesday. Although if you ask me, motherfuckers, Wednesday's like one of the best nights of TV. We got the Challenge, we got Survivor, we got a lot of shit on Wednesdays. Cucks. But the point stands either way, right? It's not going to work out well. You know, in my opinion, like this Saturday night show is going to be yet another, whatever the fuck the other one is, Rampage, right? It's going to be the same thing. Also, what happens with Rampage? Is that where everyone competes? You know what I mean? So, with that being said, this is like a complete disaster. I don't really care about this brand split at all. In my opinion, AEW, all they're doing is spreading themselves out too thin. This has been a disaster of a company from day one, basically, right? They had a few good weeks in the beginning, but it's been a disaster, motherfucks. It has been run to the ground by dumbass motherfucks who don't understand what makes AEW good, or I should say, what could potentially make AEW good. AEW had the opportunity to be different from WWE. The same way that TNA, who was 100 times better than AEW, was different, right? TNA embraced that, right? The WWE had pretty much deleted their cruiserweight division. So what did TNA do? They doubled down on the motherfuck, rebranded the cruiserweights as the X division, right? The argument being X, anything goes, motherfucks. You know, no weight limits, no limits, right? Six-sided ring. And think about this. Nobody talks about this, but the contributions of TNA were not necessarily restrained to the X division and the six-sided ring, but they were restricted to the elements that are conducive to both of those elements, right? The sub-elements, if you will, right? So, for example, we had the 6 sides of steel match, right? Yeah, of course, it's just a cage match, but it's different because there's 6 sides, motherfucks. It just seems more badass. It's a 6-sided cage. We've never seen that shit before, right? We had what the fuck's it called? The one with the Ultimate X match. I was gonna say the one with the ropes, right? That's a brilliant idea. That's one of the greatest ideas in terms of match setup in wrestling history, right? Because it's the X division, and there's an actual fucking X that intersects in the middle, right? And people were using the ropes to do cool shit, right? TNA they even had submissives. They had that other X match where like the people stand on top of a giant X, like at the top, you know, and like you win if you throw someone over, right? Yeah, that was kind of a miss. But considering what TNA was doing, it was still badass, right? They're still trying. What has AEW done? What have they done? Oh, the Casino Battle Royal. It's just a fucking Battle Royal. Oh, the clubs are coming out next. Look, there's a flying fuck about the clubs. Fuck the clubs. Fuck the diamonds, the hearts, and the spades too, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So, what I'm getting at is this, right? AEW has done absolutely no work in establishing their identity, right? All they've done is hire WWE guys, follow the WWE format, right? And then just pretty much waste their talents. The 5-6 people they have that are good, they've mismanaged them completely. Powerhouse Hobbs is still a jobber, while Darby Allin and Jungle Boy are wrestling in the main event now. You see what I'm saying, motherfuckers? Like, Powerhouse Hobbs would destroy both of them at the same time. You know, even Adsami Guevara, so he beat all three of them at the same time, right? Powerhouse Hobbs should be the champion. If you're not going to make him the champion, that's fine, but at least push him. Wardlow has been with the company like 4 years or whatever. It seems like he just started like last week because he's accomplished absolutely nothing this entire time. He still feels like MJF's lackey. This is the guy that destroyed MJF, and now MJF is champion. So let me get this straight. After Wardlow destroyed MJF, MJF became champion. What the fuck is that? Why? Why didn't Wardlow ride the win into a title run, right? It wasn't presented as a fluke. It's not like Wardlow fluked out and beat MJF. He whooped his ass. So why doesn't Wardlow just say, hey man, remember me? I'm the guy that whooped your ass, right? Where's my title shot? I want to whoop your ass again. No, because Wardlow's like, I don't want to be champion yet. I want to be the Atlantic champion. Yeah, you'll get what you're told you're gonna get, Wardlow. Shut the fuck up, cuck. So that's what I'm getting at, motherfucks. And now the ultimate nail in the coffin, the ultimate spit on the face of AEW is this brand split, right? It's not gonna make any difference. It's not gonna make any difference. I bet you by the end of the year, before the end of the year, we're gonna have our first brand rivalry, right? That's how dumb they are. They just rush everything, right? We're gonna have the first brand rivalry. We're gonna have that Survivor Series 2005 moment where the brands fight each other, and it's probably gonna be in some sort of elimination match, right? Think about it. AEW has accomplished fucking nothing, right? Their biggest contribution to wrestling is the Anarchy in the Asylum match, whatever the fuck it's called. The one where they run around like a stadium like idiots, and it's just gimmicks and gimmicks and gimmicks, and Matt Hardy comes out in 3 different costumes. That's the kind of shit that this company's gonna be known for when it's all said and done. And when I say it's all said and done, I mean in the next few years, motherfucks, this company doesn't have much left, right? Eventually, people are gonna be disenchanted, right? Forget about the fact and the possibility that someone like MJF is gonna stick around, right? The reality is that WWE doesn't have any stars to export to AEW. WWE understood this when TNA became actual competition for them, right? When TNA started doing things like the Main Event Mafia, where it's you have all these WWE guys who, yeah, most of them are past their prime, but they're still good. They can still go, like Sting, Angle, Steiner, Booker T, to a certain extent, Kevin Nash, motherfucks. All these dudes that are badasses, that everyone loves, historically that everyone has loved, all of a sudden, they have a faction in TNA, right? WWE doesn't have stars of that caliber anymore. If I told you, find 5 stars that are willing to go to AEW at any point, right? That are as big as the 5 guys in Main Event Mafia. You couldn't. You couldn't do that, motherfucks. It'd be like Orton, Cena, and then that's it. You'd be done. You know what I'm saying? There's no other stars. There's no other stars that have been made. Maybe Edge, right? That's it, 3 people. Everyone else would be a jobber, right? And good luck getting those 3 guys who are all multi-millionaires, right? Good luck getting those motherfucks into AEW at any point, right? Also, they're also 50. Edge is already older. He's older than Sting was in TNA. You know what I'm saying? Randy Orton is the same age that Sting was in TNA, basically, right? Think about that shit, motherfucks. John Cena's never gonna wrestle again. Let's be real, or on a full-time basis. They're either bigger or they're just as old, right? They don't have a prime Kurt Angle. So think about that. What the fuck's gonna happen? What's their next step? You know what I mean? Their next step obviously isn't to push their homegrown guys. It's literally to get bottom-of-the-barrel jobbers from WWE like Dean Ambrose, who before he left was getting squashed by Nia Jax, and make him the champion. I digress, motherfuckers, but that's the truth. Think about it. Claudio Castagnoli, my ass. What the fuck has this guy accomplished? He's been there 2 years already. Nothing. Nobody gives a flying fuck about him. He's never drawn a damn dime, motherfucks. That's what you gotta think about. And they think that they're gonna draft Claudio Castagnoli until the Saturday show and people are gonna tune in? Have you fucking lost your mind? These guys have never drawn a dime, motherfucks. No one's gonna tune into that garbage show. The first week is gonna be the highest views they ever get. And it's gonna be around 900,000 if they're lucky, motherfucks. If they're lucky. That is, if they debut this with the draft as well. If there's no draft, I think if they crack 600,000, that's a huge success. Because let's be real. Saturday night, we got real sports going on right now. You know what I'm saying? The summer is starting. Nobody's gonna stay home on a Saturday night to watch fucking Keith Lee and Claudio Castagnoli, you dumb fucks. That's what I'm getting at. With that being said, the hater is done with this video up in this bitch, motherfuckers.